Well, the sun is beginning to set anyway, Adam observed. Why don't we head back to the cave and tell you all about it? Cave? Adam nodded. Yeah, come on. We hiked through the flourishing forest, crossed the river, and continued hiking until we reached our destination. The surrounding sunset filled the world with brilliant colors that clung to the sky and lightly coated the breathtaking landscape. On the side of the mountain, before the mossy rock ledge, laid our home. We led Caesar inside. 4 grass beds with a fur blanket upon each one lined the stone wall, along with a rack of dried venison. A circle of stones, guarding a collection of sticks and twigs, served as our hearth. Cassie scraped 2 rocks together until a twig from the hearth caught the spark that lit the fire. You live here? Caesar asked as he examined the cave. Yes, Ayana yipped. For 10 years? Yep. And no one else has found you here? No, Adam explained. When we first came here, we were always on our guard because so many travelers used to come through here. People were always moving in and out of the village, always exploring. But we haven't really seen anyone since we've been out here. He shrugged. I guess the travelers found a new route. Caesar sat in the center of the cave, beside the hearth. Have you ever wanted anyone to find you here? We each took a seat around the hearth. I replied, well, it would be nice to see people again before we lose our minds. But we can't risk getting caught by Sharape. But it has been 10 years, Anna chimed in. Perhaps Sharape has forgotten about us. Caesar's eyes grew wide as he blurted, Oh no, he has not forgotten about you. Stay here, you are safe here. If you dare return, Sharape and his people will destroy you. Why would the people destroy us? I asked. Yeah, we're the Vioras, Cassie stated. They're our people. Caesar's gaze dropped to the floor. Sharape has filled their heads with strange ideas. He keeps the people fighting to be sure they are scared, confused, and weak at all times. That way he may have more power over them. His gaze lifted as he looked into our eyes. He has turned your people against your family and your friends in your name. What? How? Adam asked. He claims to be speaking for your family now. He claims to have been a close friend of your father's. He claims that your father told him how every human being should live their lives. So every week he spouts off some rubbish that always ends the same way. Sharape guilting the people into giving him what little jewels they have, and convincing them that it is what you want. Silence fell over the cave as we struggled to process Caesar's strange tale. But Sharape wasn't friends with Dad, Cassie stammered. Sharape killed Dad. Caesar solemnly beheld Cassie. Hope and relief sparked in his eyes. Yes, he breathed. Tears rushed to his eyes as he nodded. Yes, Sharape killed your father. Oh, Sarah and I did not realize how good it would feel to finally hear someone else say that. But it is a fact, I stated. We saw him do it. You saw? Caesar murmured. Adam and Victoria did, Aeona clarified. We left before it happened, but Victoria went back. Adam made Cassie and I wait in the woods while he went after her. The pain from that night fought to rise to my surface, but I forced it back down. Adam stared into the fire in a dead trance. I reached for his hand. Adam grasped my wrist before I could touch him, then set my hand back onto my knee. Without touching him with my hands, I wrapped my arm around his and stated, Compromise. I am sorry, Caesar whispered. It is all right, Adam managed to speak. It was not your fault. Do you mean that? I looked from my brother to my friend, who was now battling tears. Caesar, what is wrong? I asked. Sharape has told many lies about your father. Caesar's voice was weak. And his family, and his friends. I knew they were lies in the beginning, but after hearing them for so long, I started believing them. I never believed a word of the lies he tells about your family, but... He paused to swallow his tears. But he says that I am the one who killed your father. And I almost believe him. He held his face in his hands as his sobs worked their way up his throat. We rushed to our friend's side. Caesar gasped between sobs. At first I thought, how dare they accuse me of such a horrible act? Then I thought, there must have been something I could have done to stop it. His sobbing escalated. Maybe I did kill him. He collapsed into himself, crying, I am sorry, Saron, I am sorry. The villagers are right. I have betrayed my best friend and king. Caesar, I pleaded as I put my arm around his shoulders. A dark pain tore at my arm, but I held my hand firmly in place. It was not your fault. Surely you can forgive yourself for a crime you have not committed. But it was my fault. All I ever wanted was to protect my king, and I failed him. You did not fail him, Aeona coaxed. You were there for him until the very end. Mom and Dad could not be saved. I still knew what was to come. I should have been prepared for the attack, but I was not. Adam softly asked, Caesar, did you pick up a knife and stab them? Caesar looked into Adam's eyes and answered, No. Then you did not kill them. I am sure every one of us here feels the guilt of surviving when two incredible people did not. My brother's eyes held an unspoken sadness, which troubled me. And I am sure we can all find a way to blame ourselves. But it all comes down to this. Who burned our house down and stabbed our parents, with every intention of killing them and us? Sharape, Caesar whispered. Yes, Adam nodded. Sharape is the one who did it. He is only blaming you, so you will weaken yourself for him by blaming yourself as well. Caesar did not respond. We stared into the dying fire as the stars lit the black sky. Thank you, Adam, Caesar breathed. Adam nodded. No problem. The cold night air rolled into the cave. How could our people become so blind that they would accuse you of? Aeona's voice trailed off. Oh, you do not know the half of it, Caesar whispered. What Sharape has done to your father is far worse than what he has done to me. He brutally murdered Dad, Cassie stated. What else could he possibly do to him? Assume power over his people and convince them your father's murder was a wonderful thing. Cassie nodded. I stand corrected. What? Adam sputtered. How and why has he done that? That is the very question I have been asking myself for 10 years, Caesar sighed. Sharape's explanation of the beauty of murder, or as he calls it, sacrifice, makes no sense whatsoever. Yet the people believe every word of it. When I ask them why, they demand that I see my king's murder as a glorious event that is to be idolized and celebrated. They simply repeat back to me Sharape's words. They do not take the time to understand what Sharape's words mean, and yet they are more than eager to spit them into the faces of their enemies. But about Mom? Aeona asked. What does Sharape say about her sacrifice? A scowl contorted Caesar's face. He barely mentions your mother. And when he does, he hissed, he does not mention her death and has unkind things to say about her life. What does he say? Adam growled. Foul things I refuse to repeat. But if the village has become as corrupt as you say, I thought aloud, shouldn't we fix it? No, Caesar sputtered. The panic fled his voice. He calmly continued, No. I have attempted to get through to the people many times. Sharape has gained complete control over them. They refuse to listen to anyone but him. The people have become ruthless and cruel. If you return, you will be killed the moment you arrive. Queen Evita and King Saron have already been lost. I cannot risk. He looked into our eyes and sighed. Please, he whispered. Do not return to that despicable place. Stay here and preserve what little love is left in the world. I studied his eyes as I breathed. Your back was injured before I attacked you, wasn't it? He looked to the ground and whispered, The people have become ruthless and cruel. A deep silence hung over the cave. I studied the hurt in my friend's eyes, wondering why it was there, and wishing I could make it disappear. The dark, searing pain clawed its way up my arm with more intensity. I gasped for air as an involuntary shudder surged through me. Caesar gently lifted my hand from his shoulder and tucked it safely by my side. Victoria, he sighed, you have already rid me of my physical wounds. The wounds that remain, you cannot heal. I want to, I whispered. I know.